An American decided to defy Kim Jong-un's dictatorship while in North Korea, even risking facing a heavy penalty for this act. But who is Kim Jong-un? Oh, and who would be this man, the eldest among the three sons of a traditional American family? Otto was born on December 12, 1994. He was always considered a popular and very studious student. At the same time, Otto graduated in 2013, receiving his important academic title for having a lot of interest in other cultures. The young man had already visited some countries in Europe, as well as Cuba and Ecuador, in 2015. Otto planned to participate in a study program in Hong Kong, taking advantage of his plans in Asia. He decided to visit North Korea during the New Year period. Even before arriving in the Chinese city, according to Otto's father, he said the trip was safe for American citizens and declared that he was curious about North Korean culture, as well as having a strong desire to get to know the people of North Korea. In December 2015, the young man set off for a stopover in Beijing before arriving in Korea. Already in the lands of Kim Jong-un, he and 10 other American citizens would spend 5 days in Pyongyang, the country's capital. The group celebrated the New Year at a party in Kim Il-sung Square in Pyongyang, before returning to their hotel accommodations, where everyone continued drinking and getting very drunk. And it was precisely in this atmosphere of celebration and drinking that the young American decided to challenge the country's dictator. And in today's video, we'll find out exactly what happened to him after facing the cruelest dictatorship on the planet. But before we continue, if you're not subscribed yet, don't waste any time, subscribe here. It's worth it, I guarantee. And don't forget to turn on notifications to stay updated on all the videos we post on the channel. And leave your like, it's extremely important to help the channel grow. After returning from the celebrations in Kim Il-sung Square in Pyongyang, Otto was intoxicated by drinking and decided to continue drinking, becoming even more intoxicated. The fact of drinking and partying in public places in North Korea is not well seen by the regime, and the situation worsens when you get drunk and don't respect the customs of North Koreans, which are more severe due to oppression. And as I said, when a person is drunk, they are susceptible to disrespecting a custom or even a rule. And North Korea is formed by several strict rules. For example, would you have the courage to overstep in a North Korean square if you were on a tourist trip to Kim Jong-un's lands? Or would you be more reserved? Comment here. Returning to the fact, very intoxicated, Otto decided to steal a political propaganda poster to take back to the United States as a trophy for his hometown. The poster read, "Let's arm ourselves strongly with the patriotism of Kim Jong-il." Otto managed to take the poster, rolled it up, and took it to his room, keeping it with his belongings. Everything seemed to be going well, and he would become even more popular because of such a bold action. This was practically a moral punch in the face of Kim Jong-un. Never before had anyone challenged and confronted the dictator in this way. However, in the country, causing any kind of damage or even taking materials with the name or image of a North Korean leader is considered a serious crime by the government of the country. By the way, do you know the punishment given to citizens and even military officials for situations even less serious than these? Capital punishment, with the use of a rifle. A general was executed in this way just for sleeping in a meeting. Traveling to North Korea. And speaking of sleeping, did you sleep peacefully, had your breakfast the next day, and met with other tourists? You were a few hours away from returning to your homeland. Speaking of homeland, it is worth remembering that the United States today is the #1 enemy of North Korea, along with South Korea. This means that, in addition to confronting the dictator, Otto showed that he, as an American, does not submit to the rules imposed by the dynasty's regime. So, the American headed to Pyongyang International Airport and walked toward his Air Koryo airline plane, which was waiting to take him to the next destination. By the way, traveling by Air Koryo is already, in itself, an act of extreme courage, as it is considered the worst airline in the world. Those who travel by the company complain about the general condition of the aircraft, even the meals served, which seem to be of very dubious quality. Facing the gate that gives access to the plane and while waiting, Otto was surprised. Two guards were facing the American, looking at him. Imagine the chill down the guy's spine. Not a word was spoken. The guards came and simply tapped Otto on the shoulder, leading the American away from there. Otto was being arrested in the most closed country in the world, with the cruelest dictatorship on the planet. Remembering that North Korean authorities make no effort to speak another language. Only the country's tourist guides speak English. The American did not resist and did not even seem frightened. He even smiled at the other tourists who were with him, as if minimizing what was to come. When the group's plane was about to leave the terminal, an officer boarded and announced that Otto was ill and was taken to the hospital. They said this so that the case would not become controversial among the other Americans on the plane. So, the approach of the arrest also seemed calm. However, the Central News Agency of Korea, KCN, North Korea's state news agency, opened up and announced on North Korean TVs that Otto had been detained for hostile acts against the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and gave no further details. After the announcement, silence about the case remained for about a month and a half. The American's family had no news about him during this time. After almost 2 months and a conference held by the company on February 29, 2016, Otto appeared, reading a written statement where he confessed that he had tried to steal a propaganda poster from a restricted area on the second floor of the hotel where he was staying, to take back to the United States. In March 2016, American envoy Bill Richardson met in New York with 2 North Korean diplomats at the United Nations office to press for the Americans' release. It was to no avail. Otto was tried and convicted in North Korea's Supreme Court, hours after the United States' request. The evidence presented at the trial included images from the hotel's internal security circuit, his confession on video, evidence of fingerprints on the poster, and the testimony of some people. The American confessed that he abandoned the poster after discovering that it was too big to be taken in his luggage. But that did not prevent his sentence of an incredible 15 years of hard labor. However, the American would not stay 15 years in Kim Jong-un's country. He would return to the United States already in 2017. He was indeed released to return. However, he arrived in a coma. North Korean authorities said the young man had contracted foodborne botulism and entered a coma after taking a sleeping pill. North Korean medical records showed that the body had been in this state since April 2016, just a month after his conviction. North Korean authorities provided a record of 2 brain magnetic resonance images from April and July of that year. American doctors said there was no evidence indicating any signs of botulism. Otto's parents accused North Korea of mistreating their son during his time in prison. However, American pathologists said they found no signs of violence on the young man's body. The young man passed away and the family was informed that they would have to pay $2 million for the costs of the ICU, where the American stayed until his release, which was about 17 months of hospitalization. In contrast, an American judge sentenced the country to pay $500 million for mistreating the American while he was imprisoned. Obviously, neither of the 2 invoices was paid.